Today we're going to take a first look at a Joy-Con alternative. Let's check it out. Welcome back to 128KB. I'm Andy, and if you're new to the channel, go down there, hit that like and subscribe button because it really helps us out. Oh, and share the video as well if you think someone might find this useful. It's the new year. It's 2022. Like, what? Like, I can't believe that. So happy new year, everybody. I hope this is a great one. I'm sure it will be. And let's hope for the Switch's sake, it's even better. But yeah, today we've got the BinBok Discovery Edition Joy-Cons. I'm pretty sure they're called the Discovery Edition, not that it shows on the picture. Before I start, actually, I do want to say this is going to be a 3-part video. So this is part 1 of like first impressions and unboxing. Then the next video is going to be my full-blown definitive review after using them for like a couple of weeks. And then the next video after that is going to be a direct comparison to the Hori SplitPad Pro, which is the most popular and officially licensed sort of Joy-Con replacement or alternative. So these are not officially licensed. They're just randomly made by this company called BinBok. And I have seen other companies, which I swear are using the exact same ones as these and just putting their name on it, like seeing them on Facebook, stuff like that. But BinBok, as far as I'm aware, are the original company that made these. So last year, some of the really big YouTubers like Spawnwave and all the other big YouTubers basically had the normal BinBok controllers, and they all actually highly rated them other than the D-pad. But I didn't find any videos whatsoever on these ones, which is BinBok's basically like new version, which are the slimline one. So the original one was big and bulky, kind of like the Hori SplitPad. But I thought, you know what, instead of basically just buying the Hori SplitPad again, I'd go for the new version, which is the like slimline ones. So we're gonna unbox these and take a first look. So here's the box. But what these are not just standard Joy-Con replacements like the Hori SplitPad, which has no battery. Basically, you can only use them once they're attached to the Switch. These are different. These offer basically, well, here we go, look. So they're wireless, so they've got internal batteries. So you can actually use these wirelessly. You're not just sort of conformed to use them on the Switch. You can actually use these as Joy-Cons. So they are wireless. They've got dual vibration. So when they say dual vibration, I think they mean there's vibration in each controller, because there's actually 3 or 4 levels of vibration that you can change. It's not the same as the HD rumble as found in the actual official Joy-Cons, but they still have rumble essentially. You've got 6-axis gyro, so you can actually use these for motion control games, which is really, really good. And you can, of course, use them wired as well. And they have RGB LEDs on them, which look slightly different than they do in this picture because we've got a slightly different model, but they have different colors that you can set, different like effects that you can set as well. So there's like static, breathe, and then I think there's like a rainbow breathe, which is pretty much the exact same thing. But let's take a look at these, and then we'll go over like pricing and just first sort of opinions, first impressions, let's say. I don't know what I'm talking about, Andy. But anyway, let's crack it open. So this is the box you get. It's really, really, really basic. And yeah, I mean, it didn't even have the brand on it. It just says made in China. So it doesn't even say BinBok. It's just like, yeah, okay, there you go. Oh, there you go, color LED switch and color mode. That just shows you how to change it, but we'll go over all that. Anyway, let's unbox it. So inside the box, we get a very, very, very basic sort of experience. Let's go this way up first, if I can get it out. So that's it. There's not really anything else in there. So upside down wise, we get a welcome guide, and it basically just tells you what you can do with it, how to put them on, how to change colors, how to change the turbo. I forgot to mention it's got turbo. We'll go over that as well. So it does have turbo. But anyway, this is the welcome guide, so let's chuck that back in the box. And we do get one of these, and this is for basically using it as a wireless controller. So instead of having each Joy-Con individually in your hands, you can put it together just like the Switch comes with that little dock for the Joy-Cons. This is basically the BinBok version of it. There we go. Very, very simple. It doesn't have the sort of like angled out edges, but we'll go over why in a second. So that's that piece just there. And we do get a USB to USB-C. So a USB-A to USB-C cable. Now, originally I was thinking, oh no, we're gonna have to charge each of these individually. And I was like a little bit bummed about that, but then like looking at it again, it's not. They charge on the switch, so don't worry. This is purely for firmware updates. I haven't actually updated the firmware yet because I haven't even looked on the website to see if there was any, but that's what you do with this cable basically. So for me, let's chuck that in the box just there. Now let's get to the good stuff, the actual reason why we're here. Oh yeah, look at that. So these are the Discovery Edition, and that means, I think, is that they're transparent. Now, I know some people absolutely hate transparent stuff. I'm not one of those people. I love transparency. It's my favorite thing ever. And I think it's because of like the N64 and Game Boys and all that good stuff like from back in the day. Oh, loved it. Absolutely love it. So that's why I actually went and did this. Oh, and before I say anything, I bought these with my own money. So we have not been sent these. I paid for these and waited weeks for them to ship from China. And yeah, so my opinions are solely my own and I have no obligation to say these are good or not. But yeah, stick around to find out and make sure you go down there and subscribe as well if you don't want to miss the next videos. But anyway, here's the controllers. So here's the Joy-Cons, and I must admit, first impressions are they look so good just because of the transparency. So you can see right in there, and I love that. Like, I absolutely love that. I think they look great. But let's take a look at each controller individually. So the first thing you will notice is look at the size of these things. They're not very big. And if I take off one of the Joy-Cons in a second, you'll see that it's actually pretty much the same size, but we have ergonomic grip. So this actually completely sits in your hand as if you've just cut a real controller in half. And oh, it feels lovely. Like that ergonomic shape, perfect, absolutely perfect for me. And I must say, this may be a grip killer. So, you know, like in terms of comfort and feel, they're doing it for me. Like first impressions there, that just, oh, that feels great. Like look at that. You can see that grip. I know it's a little bit difficult because they're transparent, but yeah, like that actually has some grip on it. Now let's just take off this Joy-Con. Whoop, nearly knocked the switch over. Don't want to be doing that. Okay, so this is the left Joy-Con. So let's go left and right. So it's not that much bigger. Like it's a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger. And I actually really like that. I mean, but then when we turn it sideways, look at that grip. Look at that. The Joy-Con is just straight up and down. This, the BinBok, is, you know, I think it's called the BinBok Slim Transparent Discovery Edition. It's got some rubbish name, but yeah, look at that grip. Like that is grip worthy. This is like, oh, what am I doing? I'm all cramped up, man. What's going on? So yeah, it's kind of like, don't know what I feel about that. I mean, the benefit of the Joy-Con is that it's smaller, so it is smaller, and this is gonna fit in cases easier. This probably isn't, but in terms of feel, that is ergonomically correct. This is not. But we'll come back to the sort of comparison to the normal Joy-Con. But in terms of like first look, like it looks really cool. I really like the transparent edition. I do like that. In terms of feel, I must say it doesn't feel cheap. In terms of the plastic used, like that feels nice in my hands. Like it feels good. It's quite sturdy. Like if I squeeze it, there ain't no move in that. There's no give at all. And like I said, there are already BinBok controllers, Joy-Con replacements, but they're much bigger, like the Hori split pad. But that was a bit too big and chunky for me. I mean, obviously if you've got massive hands, then that's probably going to be the way forward, but they do make larger versions. But for me, with sort of medium hands, I also wanted to keep the whole thing as like small and compact as possible. And that's why I went for the new ones. So yeah, in terms of build, like the actual shell, this does not feel like it's going to fall apart on me. There's no movement at all. There's a tiny little bit of rattle just because of the buttons, like, you know, but that's to be expected. But in terms of the actual build quality, that feels pretty good. And yes, we still get the you know, the ZL and the ZR or whatever it is on the top there. Well, what's it say? It says SL and SR, but we get those. So it does slide onto the actual switch, but that feels pretty good. The buttons, Nice and clicky on the side there. You've got a pair button there as well, and you still have the lights to show you how, like, you know, what player you are on the side there. And you can use these individually just like a Joy-Con. Now you've got the buttons at the top there. We've got the plus button. We've got a joystick, which I'll come back to. We've got a home button, and we've got a turbo button. So the turbo button, basically what turbo is that you can assign a button to be turboed. And there's a couple different ways of doing that. So if I pressed and held turbo and then press like A, well then A then becomes the turbo. And if I press and hold A, it's just gonna spam A like multiple times without me having to like keep pressing it. Now you can do it the other way around as well. So if you like hold, I think it's if you tap A and then release it, then it's still doing that turbo as well, which is really, really cool. So that's on the front of this one. On the larger ones, the turbo button's on the back, and you do have like an extra trigger on the back, but this one, there's no extra buttons. It is literally just assign the turbo, and there we go. Now the Joy-Con, like the BinBok Joy-Con, whatever this is called, the joystick, there we go, Andy. The joystick, that feels amazing, and look at the travel difference. So this is the normal Joy-Con. There is not much movement on that at all, and I have a grip on it, which should give me a little bit extra, but there we go. There's not much movement on that at all. Whereas if we go to this one, look how much movement there is. I'd say there's almost twice as much movement on this controller and on this joystick than there is on the official one. And I must admit, it feels good. It actually feels good. You know, it feels good. But that is this right-hand controller. So we've got all the standard buttons. We do have the R and ZR as well on here. But again, I'll come back to how the buttons feel in a minute. So here on the left controller, the first thing you're gonna notice is, have you guessed it yet? Can you notice? Tell me in the comments if you found it yet. It's got a D-pad. It's got an actual D-pad. So yeah, I mean, first impressions are it's not that great. It's not the best D-pad I've ever felt, but I mean it works, right? It's a D-pad on a Joy-Con. We've got the minus button as always. We've got another turbo button for this controller. So each turbo assigns to their respective Joy-Con. Then we have the screenshot or record button just there. We've still got the shoulder buttons on the side there, another one just there, and the same grip here. The only thing these do not have is the NFC support, as far as I'm aware, and also the like, you know, on the right Joy-Con, there's like the, I can't remember what it's called. I'm being super stupid. This thing here, the like, is it the IR scanner or something? I can't remember. Oh well. But yeah, so basically that's what they don't have. And again, this joystick, oh my days, this feels much more like a Pro controller than the actual Joy-Cons, because there's so much more movement. And again, because of that ergonomic sort of grip that you've got there, that feels so much nicer, because they do slightly flare out to the right, and that grip makes your hand like sort of stick out a little bit better. And yeah, I mean, it feels really nice. So I will stick them on the Switch in a second, and we'll have a quick look at the colors. But in terms of button feel, let's go over it. So the right one, let's compare it to this. I mean, the actual Joy-Con, super clicky. This one, spongy. So it is spongy. These buttons, on the other hand, the turbo and the home button, very clicky, and same with the plus button. You do have joystick in, that feels great to me, that's absolutely fine. Shoulder buttons, nice and clicky. The R button is different than the ZR button. So that's quite clicky. That's just a little bit more spongy in actuation. Now left one, let's just do a comparison to the triggers quickly. So ZL, ZR. They're very similar. I must admit, they're very similar. I'd say the ZL is very slightly mushier, so just very slightly inconsistent. L, R. I'd say L is very slightly clickier than R, but to be fair, to be perfectly honest, they're pretty much exactly the same, which is quite nice to see. Now, in terms of the D-pad, it's not mushy like these. but it's not overly clicky, and I don't know if you'd be able to roll it very well either. It doesn't seem to have like a decent pivot point, but you know, again, without using it, who knows. These buttons, same, like all the other buttons. I mean, to be fair, overall, pretty consistent in feel compared to both controllers. It's not like one feels nice and clicky and the other doesn't. All the buttons are respectively like pretty uniform in feel, and I kind of like that. But let's stick it on the Switch and see what it looks like and how it feels. So let's get the Switch and let's put this on. So here we go. So that is the Switch OLED, and that's what it looks like with the standard Joy-Cons on. Now let's take these off and stick these on. So, ooh, straight on and straight on. That was very, very easy. They went on very nice, and that just looks so cool. I'm sorry, if you don't like transparent designs, they do other colors. You don't have to get transparent. I just paid for the transparent ones because I love transparency. It's so cool. I would do the whole Switch if I dared, but I won't. But yeah, I mean, there we go. That's what it looks like. And you can see straight away how much more ergonomics there are here in terms of the actual controller flaring out. Like that looks good. That does look good. Okay, I'm gonna have loads of fingerprints all over my Switch OLED now. But that straight away is a much more premium feel than the actual Joy-Cons. Like 100%, they feel better in your hands compared to the Joy-Cons, because the Joy-Cons are all crampy. Not a big fan of that. These are perfectly designed. It's almost like they're perfect for my hands. And like I said, I've got medium-sized hands, so the slim ones, perfect. Small, medium hands, perfect. Not too sure about large hands, but if you've got large hands, just go for the bigger ones. Again, I can't really speak for the bigger ones. I've never tried them, but first impressions of like out of the box, these feel very nice. They, you know, there's no movement whatsoever on this right one. There's a very slight movement here on the left one, very slight. But to be fair, when you're playing it, you're not going to be like twisting it up. So there we go. Let's turn the Switch on. So here we go. So we do have LEDs in there. Now I do have them set to just like pulsing orange, or no, they're on cycle. So I think if I just hold the T down, the turbo, and press it once, and then again, it changes color. There we go. So let's put it on purple, because why not? There we go. So that's it with the LEDs on. Now the LEDs, I mean, there's no diffusion, so you can literally see the 4 LEDs, whereas on the other colored ones that aren't transparent, they actually put like a ring around it, so it looks more, well, diffused. It's like a more consistent sort of look of color rather than just these like, oh look, there's 4 LEDs there. But to be fair, I think it looks fine. They work absolutely fine in terms of feel. It doesn't seem to be delayed or anything like that. But yeah, they look good. One thing that I really like is that you can wake up the Switch with these. Other sort of third-party options, you can't do that. So if you've got the Switch docked and you're sat by the TV, well then you can press and hold the home button and it will actually wake up the Switch, which is awesome. But there we go, that's the BinBok Joy-Cons on the actual Switch. And first impressions are, I'm really, really digging them. I mean, again, the buttons, some of them are a little bit spongy, but there we go. Let's take a look at what they look like on the little grip thing there. So let's put the Switch down there, and here we go. There we go, and there we go. That's what it looks like on here, and I think it looks pretty good. It certainly feels good. You can tell that it's a little bit smaller now, like compared to, say, a full-size Pro controller, but they're much nicer in terms of feel than the actual Joy-Cons. So price-wise, let's go over that. So over here in the UK, The actual official Joy-Cons are around 70 quid. So yeah, $69.99. So that's £70. I've no idea what that is in dollars. Maybe $110, $100. I've no idea what they are in America. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. These, in terms of UK pounds, I bought these for £40, including shipping, and there was no import charges to the UK either, so it was what it was. So I think these were probably worked out at about $60, but I know that the store, I bought these directly from the BinBok website. I know that the store runs offers and different pricing depending on like different Joy-Cons, because they offer different versions, like the full size ones, different colors. But for me, these worked out at about £40 GBP, Great British Pounds. So UK price, this was about £40. So that's almost 50% less than the actual Joy-Con. So almost 50% off. I was expecting them to be super cheap, super like bad quality, but I know last year all the other big YouTubers were actually rating them, and apparently they've improved them a lot, and obviously they've made these smaller versions as well. But first impressions wise, I'm liking these. I'm liking these a lot. I'm liking the BinBok Transparency Discovery, whatever the hell edition they are. I'm actually digging these quite a bit. But make sure you go down there, hit the like and subscribe button, because I will be doing the part 2 video, which is going to be my definitive review after using these for a couple of weeks. And then after that, we're going to be coming back and basically putting them head to head with the Hori SplitPad Pro to sort of see the pros and cons of both of them. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Happy New Year to all of you. Go down there, or no, not down there, go wherever browser-wise you are and check out our website, 128kb.co.uk. I'm Andy. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.